This video is made for adult collectors because they made the Chaos Bringer a little guy. He's tiny.
So when you think of tank, you think of something like this, right? You think of sci-fi tank, you think of something like this. How about an entire crab as a tank? Bro is just crab with wheels. Scary tank.
Unicron is a big planet-sized, planet-eating monster thing, and then there's this. Deluxe. Deluxe. Small dude. Okay then, well, here he is as a small man, and man, this is a weird-ass figure. He looks imposing though. I will say that in a vacuum, he's pretty intimidating with the spiked legs, his spiked knees, his spiked shoulders, his spiked head. Okay, there's a lot of spikes, but he is scary. Until you put someone else next to him, and then all the scariness just kind of goes away. Okay, deluxe jokes aside, I honestly don't care that he's a deluxe. It's nice to have a smaller Unicron to just mess with. One day I'll have you. One day. I do like the colors on this. It feels like a brighter, more vibrant orange from the original Armada one, and the head sculpt is all teeth and looks super scary like that. Or that. The gray, that's the word. The gray is a bit of an odd choice. I like the dark gray colors, but the lighter one just kind of looks like that Energon Ironhide gray, and it looks kind of gross. That's the best way I can describe it. It fits the vibe that this is going for though, so that's neat, I guess, but it does look a bit strange. It's not discolored, that's just what it looks like. He is all wheels on the back. I do like the tread arms though, that's cool. And he has this massive missile pod on his shoulder. It's an insanely large cannon. It does fire a missile, which is neat, and the other shoulder has a posable cannon on it so it can be like all War Machine like and recreate that scene with. Actually, I don't know who Unicron would do this scene with. He has like no friends. He does have a cyber key gimmick, but it's kind of lame. Pushing the key into the slot on his back opens a door at the front, and that's kind of it. I think it would have been more impressive if this either fired something or was a larger gun that came out, because while the maw opening and the gun coming forward is a nice little nod to like the planet version of Unicron, it is really small and kind of insignificant. He doesn't have any handheld guns and stuff, but the bits on the legs can come off and you can hold them as like lobster claws, which I think is very cool. My figure also has a loose heel, just like Smokescreen, and he falls backwards just like Smokescreen. Oh, and the shells on the legs can be a bit odd when trying to articulate this figure. Speaking of which,
it is kind of funny to me that we have a highly articulated Unicron and he's this big. He's not the big ones. Well, the HasLab one is articulated, but like it's also really heavy, so I don't know if you'd want to do any of that. I've never messed with it. But this one, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Now, I like the shells. I'm just gonna point this out now. I like the shells this way more than up. You can flip them however you want. This way they don't like bump into the ground, but I don't really like the way that this looks, so I just keep them here. But you can literally put them wherever you want. So the head can swivel left and right. It's also on this little platform so you can look up and down, but I will talk about why this platform is terrible when we get to the transformation. But you can do a full 360 degrees. There is light piping, doesn't really work the greatest. The shoulder cannon up here is on a ball joint, so it can pretty much go wherever you want. This cannon, there's a lot of my shots that you're gonna notice are like this angle, not this angle. Because this cannon only goes that far out and that far that way. It doesn't really rotate out of the way of his head. So getting any shots from this side is just going to be cannon, but it can swivel a little bit and it can go up and down. The shoulders, they can rotate about that far. The sculpt of the shoulder does bump into this hinge and stop it from moving. The shoulders can go out that far. You do have a bicep rotation and a 90-degree bend at the elbow. Nothing at the wrist because it just folds away like that. These claws here, they're on a double hinge and a swivel, so you can swing them around like that underneath. You can make them like underslung if you want to, or just leave them on the elbow, and you can rotate these however you want. He does have a waist joint, which is awesome. The hips are uninhibited. They have a lot of range, so they can go forward that far, back that far, in and out. But the knee pads, they are what bump into things, and they don't compress. If you bend the knee, they can move like that, but they don't compress in, so they will bump into the figure every once in a while when you're trying to pose them. His knee pad will just start chipping the paint. He does have thigh rotation. You do get 90 degrees of bend at the knee. Like I said, these are on a double hinge and a rotation, so they can go wherever they want. And the ankles, they can go down. They can go up a tiny little bit, but then the heel goes all the way. The heel has to fold this way for transformation. I don't know why there isn't a stopper in there, because this one's really loose and it'll just fall over, and it's kind of annoying.
All things considered, I like this robot mode. It's pretty intimidating and creepy and really hits the mark of being a Unicron, even if he is like 50 bajillion times smaller. I'm kind of surprised no one has tried to upscale this thing into being bigger, but this is an old ass toy now, so like fat chance of that. Unlike any other Unicron toy though, this turns into a tank. Yeah, tank. Honestly, though, it's better than the one that just turns into rock.
So this transformation is kind of wild in the torso. Like, I wasn't expecting it to work like this. I didn't get instructions, so like it was kind of difficult to figure it out. But he is very cool, except for the head. Now I'll talk about the head at the end. But to start with, what we're gonna do is open up the arms and fold the fists in on both sides. And then you want to take these sections and bring them up. Now you can kind of orient these claws however you want. I'm going to keep them like this just because I think it looks the best in vehicle mode. So once you get that done, we are going to fold the feet up on themselves, and then these are going to peg into here. Like, obviously, if you have them like this, you rotate them downward, and then they're going to peg into the ankle on both sides. Oops. These like to fall off a little too much because the 5mm pegs they're on are very, very tiny. So like look at how small they are. So they like to come off. But once you get that situated, come on, peg in. You're going to take this front section here, bring it out. You're going to then take this front section here and bring that out too. Then we're going to bring the shoulders down and then open this entire torso up and rotate the waist 180 degrees so this 5mm port is sticking out forward. So once you have that done, you're going to take the arms and shift them down. You're going to then take this section here and bring it out and around like that so that the arms are facing forward. Rotate the bicep swivel 180 degrees. Now they're not going to peg together. They're going to peg into the roof of the vehicle. So there's two pegs. There's a peg on the orange part and then a peg on the arm itself. And that snaps everything into place. And that's the front of the tank pretty much finished. Then you want to take this piece here and you want to collapse it down while getting this peg up and into place around the hip like that. Then you bring the legs out and they are going to peg into the treads. So the heel comes in and pegs into the tread on both sides. I do wish there was an extra connection here. Like, it's just the tread, and I kind of wish these shells clipped onto the robot body a little bit. Then you can swing these around however you want. I just kind of like to leave them like that. Now we get to the head. You want to rotate the head. Now, normally you want to fold it into here. This is extremely stiff and it's clear plastic and it is known to break on a lot of people. I have friends who've had deluxe Unicrons whose necks have just snapped clean off. And this is extremely tight. I'm not even going to risk that. I can feel it. I'm not doing that. So I just leave the head like this. But there you have Deluxe Unicron in his tank mode. Other than the stupid head thing. I don't know why that's clear plastic. It should have been regular. Like, its tolerance so tight. It's on a metal pin. It's going to break. But I do still like the way that transformation works with all this stuff underneath. It's kind of interesting.
That is an interesting tank. With the head poking out. Yeah, like I said, I'm not risking snapping that, so it's staying like this. I do like the crab aesthetic, though. It looks really creepy and matches the vibe of the robot mode. It's cool to have the turret on the top and the one set to the side. I just wish that the big one could rotate more. That would have been nice. I do also really like the claw pincer things on the front of this. That kind of adds to that crustacean effect. It doesn't roll the best, but it's just a giant pancake, which is funny. Again, I like this, though, all things considered. It has its weird old figure issues, but it is a neat little thing. I like having it. I wouldn't recommend it, though, unless you like really fuck with the design like me, because otherwise get the Armada one. If you have the cash, get the HasLab one. If you don't want a Hasbro version, get the Zeta Toys one. Like, there are other Unicrons out there and this one is just weird. It is just weird. But I like weird, so I like this. But that's been my look at Deluxe Cybertron Unicron. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.